And just talking about the betting for a second as well, and it comes at a time, Roy. I know you sent me on an article before we jumped
Yeah,
on
I have it here
here,
in front of me.
where the FEI they're really starting to clamp down now, aren't they, on in terms of players betting on games, because we've had a whole host of match fixing allegations and odd betting pattern allegation, things like that. Like saying in the article, it was Neil O Riordan, wasn't it, on Sun
Yeah,
Sport?
really good article now, I have to
Yeah,
say.
really
Really good read.
interesting. Yeah, where the FEI invited club representatives to Abbottstown to underline how much LOI, the League of Ireland, is gambled on, and some of the figures here were crazy, weren't they? Like you look at the average men's Premier Division match in 2022, you have a 9.1 million turnover for the bookies. In terms of the Fourth Division, you have a 3.25 million turnover. The FAI Cup gave up a 3.85 million turnover, and the Women's National League was 363,000. And so that's all turnover for the bookies, and those figures up here UEFA. So yeah, some starting numbers when you see them, and then overall over the 180 games across the Premier Division, Fourth Division, and Women's National League, you have 2.26 billion. Like you can see it really is an issue, and like we said, the FEI clamping down. They've banned all players from betting on any match across the world. So yeah, it's definitely an issue that it's been in the forefront for a long time. But when you look at the arrest numbers, like I said, the past 3.5 years, 15 people have been arrested and released without charge. Some of those even being current and former players. So yeah, it's a major issue, not only in the league but across the footballing world as a whole.
And it was saying that the majority of bets that are made are from Asia on the League of Ireland, and not from within Ireland, which you generally would have thought. It's a huge thing because there's so little money in the League of Ireland that it's very open to that kind of match fixing, corruption, whatever. And it doesn't have to be scoring an OG. It can be giving away a corner in the first minute, or, you know, something silly like that can, without affecting the game hugely, it can still be a kind of a match fixing thing, a betting scenario. There was and it goes on to say, it says, given the levels involved, it is no wonder the FA are so keen to get a slice of the pie in the way the horse racing and greyhound racing industries do with a betting levy. In those figures, they're totted alone. Across 180 games, there would have been up to 2.6 billion for the season if they put a betting levy on League of Ireland games. We could do with that, couldn't we? Like, so
it'd be an influx of cash, and
it'd be an influx of cash. Is it something? Is it something that should be looked at to bring in? Joseph, I'll go with you first.
I don't know. Like, I think you have to be careful as well, because you don't want it to become embedded in, you know, football culture in Ireland as well. You know, people go to the horse racing, and a lot of the times it's only to win a bit of cash. You know what I mean? And that's kind of because, you know, you've got bookies surrounding the place when you go in. You don't want it to become so normalized that football becomes the same, and I don't think it would. And as you said, you know, a lot of that is coming from Asia anyway. But I don't know. I'd be careful with it as well. I think you don't want to go too far one way.
Well, if you don't put it on, they're putting the bets on, and there's no gain. And if you do put it on, there's obviously, we'll say 2.26 billion. Some of that money could be going in on education around sporting, or betting around football, and maybe within the League of Ireland structures down through the 15s, the 19s, 17s, whoever it is as well. So it wouldn't all have to be just dished out to the clubs, and it could be something that they use to help facilities within the league, and training grounds, and God knows, in this country we need more and more astro pitches just for the winter time, just so we can get through the winter time, albeit we don't really like to see the League of Ireland games on the astro pitch. We'd rather it was on grass, but that's the country that we live in. Nathan, do you think that there's a benefit to maybe putting a levy on like that? I mean, it's not going to stop them, is it?
You just said it there. The benefit is what the money could go towards. Like, even if you put on a 1% levy on domestic bets, as you said, like a lot of the betting is done in foreign markets, but there's still a high percentage of those bets being done domestically. Well, I'm the same as Joseph. I think it's a stickier point we are talking about out and out sponsorship and things like that. But taking the levy and not putting the money, and even maybe putting it towards education, towards gambling addiction and things like that. Maybe using that bit of darkness for goodness could be a way to go about it too.
Yeah. Joseph, I look at games, Leinster Senior League games, so amateur football, the top division, you can bet on those games at any time you want. You can, put your mortgage money on, I don't know, Wayside Celtic or Crumlin winning a game at the weekend. All these people go out, they do their jobs, they're working 9 to 5 or whatever it is. Should it be allowed?
No, I don't think so. I think it gets a bit murkier when it goes down a bit too far. But like, I mean, you look at other countries and it's possible to bet on like under 20s amateur volleyball. So like it's a problem worldwide, to be fair. And I don't really know how you regulate stuff like that across the board. To be honest, though, I wouldn't be too comfortable with that. Like if I was playing, a senior match in Mayo and someone was betting on me to, I don't know, score a hat trick or something in some world, I wouldn't be too comfortable with that. Like, so yeah, I wouldn't be too keen on that. No.
Nathan, I'll let you finish off. And what's your thoughts, even going down to that kind of level?
Yeah, it's a bit much, isn't it? When do you stop the boat? Like when are we going to start betting on under-8s games and things like that? It can be it's a lot of pressure. We obviously know, look, football and betting companies go hand in hand, whether we like it or not. It's just a relationship that's been there for an extremely long time now, and the rise of advertising hasn't helped that. It's probably only made it 10 times worse. While we're probably not the right people to be talking about gambling regulations and levies being taxed on, we wouldn't be too well versed in that knowledge. But it gets a bit murky when you're starting betting on like amateur players. You're betting on, like Joseph said, you're betting on the shopkeeper to score a hat trick. So that comes true where your family aren't getting fed for the next week and a half. So it can get a bit murky.
Well, listen, at that level, it's very easy. And I've seen dressing rooms, I've seen people talk about games and how much they've put on the game that they're able to walk out to the local pitch and back on because they have information from someone around someone, So yeah, I think it's something that should be eradicated. I don't think at that lower such a low level, I don't think it should be. And in actual fact, I think it should only be on professional sports. And that would, for me, be ruling out the likes of the First Division, because it's too open to someone needing an extra few bits of cash and maybe going down the wrong road where they don't really want to go. Okay, that's something that's going to ramble on, and if we can get 2 billion in, maybe we'll go down that road. Maybe we'll have to have a little look at that.